Hey, y'all. All right. I want to talk for a few. Of course, I want to talk. I'm working on something bigger, but this just fell into play. It's been in the back of my mind for quite some time, but now I've got some major questions. So I want to talk through this really quick with you guys, see if you guys understand what I'm getting at here, and kind of brainstorm about this because I think I found a big ol' red flag shift in the narrative pushing, which we've all been kind of watching. But when you look back at it, there's just some things that really stand out right now. And I'm working on the bigger timeline of things and the whiteboard stuff, but I want to take you guys down a train of my thought process right quick with me. So buckle up. Hey y'all. Okay, let's chat for a minute here. So, Betty, this is going to be a question for you because it seems like you're kind of the catalyst of some of this. But I want to share some stuff with you. So, please keep in mind this is going to be a little bit all over the place. It's not complete yet, but I want to take you guys down a rabbit hole. Well, not a rabbit hole, I guess. Most of you have been down this rabbit hole with me. Won't be shocked by what I'm about to do, but I'm going to take you back to this calendar for a moment. Hold on. Let me pull it full screen. And I'm sharing the same one. I'm not sharing the updated ones. I'm sharing the same one that you guys have seen before, that I've shared before. And there's a reason for it. So, okay, I want you to look at May for a minute. All right. So, in May, TikTok Tony comes on the scene, appears the first time on May 3rd. Oh, actually, let me go ahead and say hi to everybody. I'll leave this on the screen right quick so you guys can kind of look. And I have hyperlinks to a lot of this stuff. I've got a whole key and stuff, but I'm not sharing it because it kind of fills in the gaps, and I'm not trying to do that for them because I think you guys will see where I'm headed. Hey, Thor. Yeah, Steph, right? Hey, or Thor, right? She won't even listen to this, but it'll get back to her. Hey, Steph. Hey, Rondi. Hey, Hartley. Hey, Catherine. Skip to my Lou, Petunia, Tammy, Ava, Pika, Nicole B, Lily Polly, Hope for Snoopy, Marcy, Charla, Mystic Butterfly. And this is a fly by the seat of my pants. I put through this together in the last 15 minutes because it just clicked to me. So bear with me. I'm not as organized as I normally am. Hey, MK. Hey, The Real Angel. Becca, Nursey David Sharp. Her brain, I know, right? Hey, Kathy R, Lauren, Peg. Whoops. Who did I miss here? Candace, Cat's Eye, Misfit Cooter, Little Irish Girl, Dreads for Life, Dexter, stop it. Hey, Sheila, Charla, Remy, Mother of Two Boys, Julie A. It's, of course, the wind has to pick up. Hey, T. Hey, Julie A. Tracy. Y'all, I'm like, oh, this shit pisses me off, actually. Hey, Peppermint Tea. Hey, Pam. Snowflake's Nightmare. Southern Gal Turtle. I've got so much further to take this. Carrie, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the cabana. Tracy, TK, Fit and Curvy, good to see you. Brantley, Angie. Normally I'd go super anal and lay this all out like in depth, but right now I just need to spew it. Hey, Maria, Carla. All right, let's go. Lauren, hello. Okay. So look at this. If you can see it, I know it's still the same colors. I did fix it. I'm not doing all that. Okay. I'm taking you to the basics, right to the basics. All right. So on May 3rd, right? The fake neighbor came out. Chris was on Clues. TikTok Tony made his appearance on Pascal's along with Seth. All right. Heather, the PI, and Chloe, the PI, were still involved at this point in time. Heather made a Facebook post on the 4th. Chloe makes a Facebook post on the 5th of May. Tony had been on Justin on TikTok on the 5th. They confirm on the 7th that the photo isn't Sebastian. The dog handler Julia stuff is going on in the midst of this. On the 9th of May, Chloe makes a Facebook post. There's a whole lot of shit going on. The leaked audio goes wild. Seth made the accusations on the Nancy Grace stuff. Heather, the PI, makes another Facebook post on the 10th of May. All right, you're probably like, okay, what's the big picture here? The 13th of May, Seth and Tony are back on Pascal. Chloe makes a Facebook post on the 14th. Anybody remember what the Facebook post was from Chloe? And then she makes statements on Twitter. Chloe did. And then we have the Stephen Crabtree misinformation, the 16th through the 17th issue with Tony and the LE involvement and stuff. Then we go to the 18th of May. Okay. Seth appeared on Smiley Stories World when he was at that vigil and they had the big blow up on Trevor Lee because Trevor Lee had been on Granny's Watching earlier that morning. Okay. Anybody in the chat remember exactly when Seth asked Chloe and Heather to step down? You should be able to tell from the calendar. Sorry, gotta get the extra treats. So we know that Tony had just started to enter himself into the scene. Tony had started entering the scene at the end of April. He makes his first appearance next to Seth the beginning of May. What had happened was the PIs were starting to confirm that Chris's alibi, according to them, he was in Memphis, correct? Anybody remember that? That the Chloe, I mean, we watched it on Web Sleuths, that Chloe came out and confirmed that Chris was in Memphis. Heather confirmed, she said the same thing, that Chris was in Memphis. But no, it's not just because of Tony. No. Hold on. Seth is in control of his team. Don't forget that. Seth picks and chooses. So why would he want to get rid of two PIs who were going through investigating the disappearance of his son? Okay, hold on. We're getting to the Beddy part. So he gets rid of Chloe. I'm going to read you Chloe's post. Chloe says, "Good morning. As many of you know, I've been the private investigator on the Sebastian Rogers case. I've been involved since early March and have worked consistently and tirelessly with many incredible people in this community. I need to announce that I've been asked to step down. This decision was made after hard conversations in congruence with boundaries I've personally held in regard to the direction I believe my investigation should go. Seth and I have chosen different paths, but our goal stays the same. These cases are difficult and the discussions on who to involve in an investigation are not always agreed upon. As most know, I am highly protective of the victims and the families I serve. Everyone involved wants nothing more than to find Sebastian. Seth is aware I will never stop searching for Sebastian, and he does not want me to. I will continue as I have for 2 months. Just now, it will be independently. I am open to questions, although I am sure there will be some I will be unable to answer. Please do not allow this statement to further distract you from the goal in all of this. Continue to share Sebastian's face. Continue to advocating for him. He is who matters. Couldn't agree more. When was Beddy's interview with Seth Rogers, the exclusive with Tony? May 30th. So Seth gets, PI start confirming Chris is in Memphis, coming out publicly and stating Chris is in Memphis. Chris's alibi checks out. Okay. Seth had already kind of entered the scenes in the background. He comes out front and center beginning of May. The PIs are let go. There's a big blow up on Smiley Stories World on the 18th. Beddy's exclusive interview with Seth and Tony is the 30th of May. Okay. All right. We got everybody following where I'm at now? But what does Beddy do after her exclusive interview? Well, she has to find a narrative to push. And what do you think she started pushing? Chris's alibi doesn't hold water. And what do you think she included with that? Well, let's just go look. Okay, so let's go here. So this interview is from May 30th, just so you guys can see I'm not full of shit. So her exclusive interview is May 30th. Absolutely starts going at, oh, Carrie, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. Welcome to the cabana, y'all. Carrie, thank you again. Y'all, please thank Carrie. Nope. There's a lot. There is so much here. And this is just a tiny little section of a few weeks of movements around. Well, actually, it's probably going to expand more like 6 months or 6 weeks, because we're going to go up till about June 29th. Okay, yes. But does anybody remember? Okay, so she does this exclusive interview, right? She does this one. Then let's go over here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I got them all saved. I just got to go back in and pull. I told you guys I'm not as organized as I normally am, because this just like hit me between the eyes. Like, holy shit. How did let me pull all these up. So in June, she starts doing all sorts of videos. Now, I'm not concerned about all the videos, because there was a consistent narrative that she was pushing. Chris's alibi didn't hold water. Chris's alibi did not hold water. Chris's alibi did not hold water. What are we pushing right now? Chris's alibi doesn't hold water. But Beddy takes it up a notch. So, 1 second. I got to pull all the rest of these up. I saved them all to a playlist. So the PIs are gone. Tony enters the scene. Beddy comes on as a part of the team. Beddy starts pushing this hardcore. And we've heard Tony say that he had to come in and clean up some things that Seth had said in interviews and things that had happened on interviews. Initially, I was like, damage control, for him popping off and stuff. Well, I think I missed the memo on that. I really do. I think I overlooked what was going on here. Because on June 17th, she starts pushing even harder. All right, let's go to this one. I'm going to show you this one. And I'm going to go way further with this. So please understand, like, this is just going to be like a very blip of this. Kim. So let's just take a quick gander at this one really quick and see what she's saying in this one. This is June 17th. So her exclusive interview is May 30th. You can go look at the videos. You can go start seeing how she starts to really push a certain thing on TikTok. She would test things out on TikTok, it seems like, and then she would bring them to YouTube at times. That is my opinion on her content. But here she starts. Chris Proudfoot's alibi stinks. I mean, she had already been trying this a little bit, but really amping up.
They actually took the main command center out of there. That main command center has been there since I didn't see it come and go, but I wasn't there first thing in the morning either, because I knew how hot it was going to be. And I was trying to wait until the afternoon when it cooled off because it's too hot. I mean, when I left here yesterday to head there, it was 98 degrees. Okay. If, and it sucks because I have to run the car. I can't turn the car off because I have all my equipment in my car. You can't leave the equipment that I have in a hot car. It will ruin your equipment. So no matter where I go, when it's that hot, the car. Anyways, guys, we were talking about Sebastian Rogers. We've been talking about Sebastian Rogers. We've been breaking down the case of Sebastian Rogers. He's a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from his home. Nothing makes sense on his disappearance. There's no evidence that he walked out of the house willingly.
She had been accusing them for quite some time. That's not what I'm going with here. There was a big shift in the narrative. No matter how hard she was pushing at them, so was JLR. So were the people she was aligned with. She was aligned with people that were pushing narratives against them. Many people were. But things really started to change. They had questioned things, but she couldn't poke holes in shit. She could not poke these big holes. So she gets in with them. The PIs are gone. They confirmed Chris's alibi. Then here comes Tony. The PIs go. Beddy comes in, replaces, starts pushing heavily with narratives. But you're going to see a specific thing that she really started pushing and has not backed off of coming up.
He left his shoes behind, even though he is accustomed to always putting his shoes on before he leaves the house. It's just one of his tics. We find that his switch is very important to him, as it is with most autistic children in their video games. And so we equate the switch as almost like Sebastian's purse, if you will. All right. And I take his shoes as his keys. You can't leave the house without your keys, and you can't leave your house without your purse, and you can't leave your house without your cell phone. And
in my opinion, Betty's just a useful idiot, but you're going to see where she starts heading with her theories and how she really starts pushing these narratives about Chris's alibi. Now, again, if I'm going to believe Seth was at work, I'm going to believe Chris was at work. We have no indication. And that's just my personal, I'm sorry, nobody's going to get me off that because law enforcement has said they've been cooperative and their stories have been vetted. But how damaging for Seth if their team is trying to push a narrative that Chris could be involved, is it to have your PIs publicly confirming that Chris was at his job site? Well, no shit, they had to get out of there. They've all told us that they had to get rid of the PIs because they were trying to, what was that? Background check searchers. Well, probably because one of the searchers that came in under that team was an RSO. I mean, that makes sense. But no, there's definitely more to this. There's definitely more to this, and that narrative needed to shift.
So I'm looking at it like that. And, when I change the story around and I say, I come to the...
You guys might not understand over here too. I don't care about the characters. I care about the narratives that are being painted by these characters. I care about the bullshit stories that continue to recycle and regurgitate off of misinformation. We know law enforcement has said the families have been cooperative, that their stories have been vetted. Seth's own PIs that he had working for him confirmed that Chris's alibi was in Memphis. All right.
The audience, and I tell everybody in the audience, I say, hey, we have a new case. The new case is, and we have this boyfriend that says he went to bed at midnight, and when he woke up, and his girlfriend left the house, and she left her purse, her cell phone, and her keys at the house when she left, and she locked the house up. And everybody is, it's the boyfriend. It's the boyfriend. It's the boyfriend. That no way would that lady walk out of the house without her purse. No way would that lady walk out of the house without her keys. No way would that lady walk out.
Betty's not responsible for the disappearance of Sebastian. Let's be logical here, people. I maybe should put this on subs only because you guys are getting crazy in the chat now. Like, let's be logical and common sense here. Betty was nowhere in the area when Sebastian went missing. She does not know where Sebastian is. Betty is a useful idiot. Sorry, it is what it is. She will gravitate to anything. Parents pushing information to her, she'll blab it without factual basis, and I'm going to show you some of that coming up.
Of the house. But yet somehow when we apply it differently and say that an autistic boy disappeared from his home, he didn't leave with his shoes, even though he's putting his shoes on. He didn't leave with his video game. When you look at it that way, we know that in this case, the boyfriend probably did something with his girlfriend, because just the simple fact of what she left behind, it was everything. And then we look over here at this 15-year-old boy, and we're thinking that some people are thinking he ran away. but he left everything. What kid do you know that runs away that doesn't take a changing of clothes or a snack or go steal mommy's money out of her wallet so they can buy stuff on the road? Indicators that they left or they were willingly walked out the door. We have none of those in this case. We have no stolen money. We have no sighting of him on cameras. I guarantee that they're going to only have during the time of 3:30 and 4 only one vehicle rolling down the road at that time of night. We've got a lot of questions. And the one thing that doesn't make sense to me is Chris's timeline, because Chris has been so vague. He won't tell us when the last time he saw Sebastian was. He won't tell us where he was when Sebastian disappeared. He always says, law enforcement doesn't want me to tell you anything because it goes to the integrity of the investigation or privacy or security.
So we know that Chris hadn't been there since the beginning of February, according to the stories that have been told. So if you take things at face value, if we're going to take Seth at face value, we're going to take Chris at face value. So I have no indication, and there's been nobody that has been able to prove that Chris was anywhere but out of town the entire month of February after that first weekend. We know that Seth had Sebastian the 16th, 17th, 18th, and I think that 19th. So it might have been 17th, 18th, and 19th of February. Okay? Keep those details. If we're going to take them at face value at what they say, we're going to do it across the board right now.
Or HIPAA or, whatever. You guys know. So Chris Proudfoot hasn't told us squat. And then we have this, we really don't know who this Heather Cohen is. Obviously she's a musician.
She instantly starts to smear the PIs that were a part of Seth's team.
And it kind of questions you, musician, that's.
I mean, I didn't care for him either. We'll be factual.
PI and how long she been a PI and really what work has she done as a PI? And, it's just, it's a little odd for me. We don't know her quality of work. We don't have any references, while you BSing. We have none of this stuff, right? And she's the one that tells us that Chris Proudfoot was at work at 5:15. How did she find that out? Chris? And then what did she do to corroborate those statements from Chris? We don't know.
We don't know that that's where she found out. According to Chloe on Web Sleuths, they had a vetted source that confirmed Chris's alibi. So Heather would have a vetted alibi for Chris. Both of them. Okay, we're going to go on that. These two ladies were working in capacity of Seth when they confirmed that information.
She never told us. So can we really believe that he was there at 5:15? I'm here in Florida. I don't know. All I can tell you is people are saying that it's probably not possible. Probably not possible at all. But we don't know. And then last night when I was here, we started talking about this ordinance. Is there this quiet ordinance?
So then they start throwing in stuff to muddy the water. Now we're going to miss some pieces here because there's just too much to fit into all of this. There's just so much shit. Yep, Austin. Yep. They had vetted sources. Okay. And if I'm going to take one at their word, these are licensed PIs that are not going to put, some of their licensed stuff, they're not going to put on the table for fuckery in these cases. They're just not. I'm going to say that verbatim. So what do you think within 5 days Beddy does? Anybody know? What does Beddy start doing on the 22nd of June? I've been asking this question lately in live streams. Why did she drop this? Why did she drop this? Why did she not go back to this? What changed on this? Why did she drop this? Let's go over here. Hold on. Okay, so you heard her say that Heather confirmed that, and then she instantly goes into trying to. So Beddy was heavily brought in as a part of the team. She had not been a part of the team up until this point. So on June 22nd, Beddy, my friend here, where'd you go? Where'd you go, Beddy? The bedster? Nope. One moment. One momento. This one's a video and not a live stream of hers. Oh, here she be. Here she be. On June 22nd. June 24th. June 20. Oh, nope. Hold on. Wrong one. I got another one. June 21st. I got my timeline written down, so I'm like, which one is it? She does a TikTok video on June 21st. Where is it? Doodah. Told you guys I'm not as in the zone as I normally am because, well, there's just too much. There's too much to get through with this one. She starts talking about bruising on TikTok. She makes a big deal out of this last photo of Sebastian. Here it is. Share this tab. Make sure you guys can see it. Yep, you guys got it. Okay. So let me show you the date just so you guys can see. So she does the exclusive interview. June 21st is when she first does this. Now, this is a TikTok video that she dropped. This way.
Hey guys, Bullhorn Beddy. I'm just going to make this kind of short and sweet tonight because it's so late and I'm getting up early in the morning, probably in about, 4 or 5 hours. And I'm going to start making my way to Tennessee. This is Sebastian Rogers. He's a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and has not been seen since. And we've done as much work as we can possibly do from our outfit here, right? So now it's time to get in the field and do some field work. And that's what we're going out to do. And there was something about this photo. We're going to be talking about this. Hey guys, Candy Cane, it's nice.
I'm going to speed her up in a second, but I want her to get through this part.
Nice to see you, my love. But before we get into this conversation right here, I'm just going to take a few moments to kind of give everybody the Reader's Digest of how we got here.
So June 21st. Okay. TikTok Tony enters the scene end of April, beginning of May. Let's just go over this really quick so everybody's in the same train of thought of where we're headed. TikTok Tony is behind the scenes at the end of April. Beginning of May, he makes his presence known sitting next to Seth on Pascal. Then the PIs are let go of after they confirm that Chris has an alibi. It's a vetted source, so on and so forth. You can feel however you want to about that. They'll blow up on the weekend against Trevor, so on and so forth. The PIs come out, make posts, say that they've been asked to step away. They've been let go. That all kind of blows over. Beddy gets an exclusive, is officially brought into the team end of May. Okay. Then we go into June. She starts pushing heavily against Chris's alibi again and discrediting these PIs. What do we know? We don't really know, and blah, blah, blah. But Chris's alibi, this, that. She had always had feelings that they were up to something, up to no good. So she's already been pushing. We just watched her push against his alibi some after she even acknowledged that the PIs had said it was that he was there. So 4 days later, here she comes out on June 21st with this. Now, again, if we're to take these people at face value off of their words, right, that they've been cooperative with law enforcement, we know that Chris was in Memphis and hadn't been home until that first weekend in February. And we know that Seth had Sebastian the weekend before he went missing, the weekend before President's Day, which would have been the 17th, 18th, and 19th. Okay? This is taking them at their words. Beddy does this video on June 21st. Where does she head on June 22nd? Well, Tennessee.
So according to Sebastian's mother, he went to bed at 9 p.m. Exactly at 9 p.m. She had him don't know what the nightly routines are. Don't know anything about anything.
She sure does, Remy, because she's the useful idiot. She'll push anything as long as she gets it in an inside source. She was brought on to the team before it was like she was kind of all over the place with this. But then as soon as she gets brought in, she gets exclusive information. She'll push anything that they give her. Anything. Carelessly. Just push whatever. But she starts peacocking something fierce. And this narrative that they tried fell completely flat and disappeared. So then what have they done? They've tried to poke other holes in this whole freaking alibi situation. Law enforcement's vetting their alibis, not YouTubers. But who does it benefit if they continue to do this? Them, because it continues the content. That's all they have, is to regurgitate these wild theories and add to them.
All we know is he went to bed at 9. At one point, she said she heard a thud at 11:30 while she was in the kitchen.
What?
The one that they're taking now is that she heard a thud at 10:30 while she was half asleep on the couch studying and talking on the phone with her husband while snoring in the phone as he's screaming in there to wake her up so she can go to bed, put the dogs away, go to sleep, and be asleep, obviously, at midnight, at exactly midnight. And then we have some light phenomenons that the neighbors talked about seeing on their video footage camera on the inside of the house. And then we find out there's other footage on another house into the common area toward the back of their house. And that's where they saw these light phenomenons that were going to a car. And then it appears that one of those lights head back to the house.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that the dogs tracked the exact trace of those the light patterns that were in the video we seen. We didn't know what we were seeing. They were just little blobs, and there was like subject 1 and subject 2 and
no, but go on.
Everything like that. We didn't really know what we were seeing, and now that we know that there was a car there, and now we can clearly see the lights going to the car and one going back, it really does put into context that something really, really did majorly happen to Sebastian Rogers. And then, we've all seen this photo before, and it just doesn't really resonate with me at the time up until just a few hours ago, what this photo really represents. Obviously the background has been taken off this photo, but if you remember what the original photo is, there's they're in a store. He's got a piece of pizza in front of him. They're sitting down and he's eating it. I mean, it's a huge slice of pizza too. And they're sitting down to eat. And it appears that it's his mother taking this picture. Well, one thing I didn't realize, and I don't know why I didn't realize, it just didn't click. Sometimes you know things, but even though you know it, you know that this was the last photo that was taken of him. You know that this was at Costco's on the Saturday before he disappeared. But something just doesn't click in your brain. It's just not clicking. That this was the last photo we have of Sebastian before he disappeared. And still didn't click.
Still didn't click. Still hasn't clicked.
It's probably still not clicking for you either.
Oh, it clicked. It clicked.
This is the one that we clearly see the bruise on the Adam's apple. You can see, and I'm a shadows person. It's what I look at shadows. I use, I tilt the camera up if I want to, thin my face a little bit. I deal with shadowing all the time. Okay.
The reason this really hit me today about why do they keep pushing these narratives? What's the goal of these narratives, and why do they keep gravitating to a few things to try and really hone in on Chris? Well, that's all they have, right? They can't get anything else to stick. There's nothing sticking. Seth had confirmed that Chris was in Memphis out of his own mouth. We heard him say numerous times that Chris was in Memphis. So if we're going to take all of them at their words, you tell me who benefits from there being holes in Chris's alibi. But what Beddy didn't realize when she started pushing this, that there was going to be some pushback.
That's what I do. I'm a video journalist. I deal with shadows. It's a lot, right? So as you can see here, and we've all talked about the bruise. We've all talked about this photo, and we all talked about the bruise. What we didn't connect, at least for me.
Oh, tell us.
What wasn't connected for me was this was the last photo we saw of Sebastian. This was the last photo taken of Sebastian before he disappeared.
Okay.
And he has a bruise on his neck.
Okay. It looks like a healing bruise to me. I'm no bruise expert, but it looks like it's a healing bruise.
That is how Oh, good gracious. Go back to YouTube. My God, these people.
So she tried this out on TikTok first. She gets brought into the team and she starts pushing theories, and she tries a lot of them out on TikTok first. You can go see in her videos what I'm saying.
They follow me everywhere. They stalk me everywhere.
Oh God, yeah.
They want attention so bad. It's disgusting.
For you.
But anyways, you can clearly see there's a shadow here. This is the shadow of his face. So we're not going to be getting, because, you know, there's some things that appear, and that's what I blew it off as at first. I said, you got to be careful with these photos. I remember when this was coming out and circulating around. This was before I ever heard or even sniffed of abuse in this household.
Before I even sniffed of abuse in this household.
And I remember them talking about this bruise, and I remember talking about this photo before, and I remember talking about the shadowing and saying there's a possibility. But when you blow it up, you can clearly see the shadow of his face. The shadow of his face is right here. This is not in the shadow of his face. This is right over his Adam's apple. And
clearly, to me, it does look like a bruise. If I'm being honest, it does look like a bruise. It looks like a healing bruise.
It looks almost like a thumb. It looks almost like a thumb. So this is shadowing, and if you blow it up, you can actually see.
I don't disagree there, Betty.
The browning of it.
Uh-huh.
It's not really like the gray shadow. It looks like a bruise.
It does. It does look like a bruise. I believe she's correct on it being a bruise. And I believe that she might not be far off of it possibly being a thumb.
A bruise. Who are you talking about? This is Sebastian Rogers. This is the 15.
But I need to remind you, Chris was not in Hendersonville since the beginning of February. Seth had Sebastian. Let me tell you the exact dates. So I went through this already in my head. And I talked about this through with a friend today, and I was like, oh. So he would have been with Seth the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th was a school holiday. Okay. School was out on the 19th. You can confirm that with the high school. I've got the calendar too if I need to go through there. Sebastian went missing the 26th. All right. Let's continue, Betty. Let's tell us some more about this bruising.
15-year-old child that disappeared from his locked home with his mom. He was locked inside of a home with his mom. And when she woke up the next morning, the whole entire house was still locked and he was gone. Poof, gone.
Now, please understand, I am not making any conclusions of where this came from. I have no clue. That's not up to me. That's up to law enforcement to decipher all these things. If we're going to take these people at their face value, we're going to take it at face value. We're going to put all these pieces together. People had started kind of talking about whether Chris was, you know, that had been going on, but it really amplified in May. Those PIs had came out and confirmed that Chris was in Memphis. And what do the new team members do? Like Betty, they instantly go after Chris's alibi. In order to do that, they discredit the PIs. What do they do to discredit the PIs? Create a huge shitstorm of other drama, in my opinion, solely. Betty comes out, does her exclusive interview May 30th. Couple weeks into June, she's pushing all these theories and speculation and on and on. I mean, there's just so much to unpack. It's unbelievable. By June 21st, we have her going back on a TikTok video and highlighting this bruise.
But the kicker is he left everything. Literally everything. He's a highly autistic boy that always puts his shoes on, and he even left the house without his shoes. He also has sensory issues.
I cannot confirm that CPS was at anybody's house. Factually speaking, I'm not privy to those records whatsoever. We've heard rumblings of all of that stuff, but if I'm going to stick to the facts, I'm going to tell you flat out, I can't confirm that they were involved at all. But We don't know what we don't know.
And it was cold that night. He didn't grab a jacket either. Really weird. Huh? You know, just...
Of course she's going to say the dumbest shit. We all know how she thinks she's an autism expert when she has no fucking clue about autism.
I just keep thinking about how weird. Every time I have to try to explain that, just how weird it all sounds. Like, we don't even know this kid, but we already know that there is no way in hell he's walking out of this into the cold without shoes on, at minimum. At minimum.
We don't know that he didn't have shoes. We know that he didn't take his shoes from his home. We know that they say his shoes are accounted for. Okay. Also taking them at their words. Okay. But doesn't mean there wasn't another pair of shoes. There wasn't somebody else had a pair of shoes. We have no clue what we don't know. Every option is on the table at this point in time. But I'm so sick of these fucking narratives that get brought up, shit get thrown in here, these big, huge, salacious rumors that get started, and then they use bits and pieces to continue to push these narratives. I've got Spanky. Hold on. Let me play this. Actually, let me pull it up while I finish playing this. Spanky, same thing. He confirmed that the PI said that the alibi was there. And they instantly were trying to tread water, figuring out how to put holes and put Chris in Hendersonville. He had to be there, right? He had to have done something. Beddy came out swinging at Michelle today. And one thing she tried to discredit again was that PI Chloe. Why do those PIs piss you off so bad, Beddy? It's not because they were vetting searchers, because anybody with a missing child would want their searchers vetted. Why is it, Beddy, that you're so pissed off about Michelle saying the same damn things I did? That Chloe confirmed that Chris was in Memphis. Why does that piss you off, Beddy? That's my question, Beddy.
And he's definitely not leaving that house without his switch. I'd like somebody to prove me wrong. Show me some receipts. I got all the parents' words for it. Like, every single one of the...
I do not, KB. I really don't. Yes, they do, Remy. They do. KB, I don't. I don't know. I think it was dismissed during... I think she only had a temporary, if I'm correct. I don't think it was extended beyond that. Terry A. Chloe got a cease and desist too. Y'all, Nana's not drunk. Thank you for becoming a member again. Yeah. Okay. We're getting through it. I got more.
Parents has explained over and over and over again.
Now you guys are seeing how my brain just scatterbrains all the time. Like I can't do a whole consistent thing because all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit. Wait a second. She ain't triggered about this. There's something worse here going on that she's doing. Beddy's just a useful idiot that will pass any narrative. They've picked, in my opinion, again, they have picked people that are useful idiots that will run with any narrative that they feed them. Think about who's pushing these narratives. Silvers, Justin, and the pipeline of how the misinformation has continued to flow in this case. Think about where it's gone and how it's added to and built on the entire time. I don't care about the clowns. I mean, I do because they've all made a huge mess of it, but they're just useful idiots to push these narratives. Why? That's what I want to know. Why?
Exactly why this child would never walk out of the house. He doesn't like outside. He doesn't like outside.
Yep.
And then the law enforcement kind of screwed up because they should have contained the scene. They should have acted as if this was a crime scene, not a missing person scene.
Law enforcement thoroughly searched the home. There was dogs there right away, everything. They handled their business. Law enforcement did what they should have done.
And so they didn't even dust the freaking front door for fingerprints. And I wanted them to do it because the reason why I wanted them to do it so bad is because I really truly believe that they would have...
Remy, I'm not going there today. I can't do it. I don't have enough in me.
Found no fingerprints on it. That's truly what I believe, because I think it would have just been out of habit because Katie is so freaking clean and has to have everything in such a perfect order.
I mean, if you look at May and June, on calendars and think about all the crazy shit that was popping off just right and left, just shit after shit after shit. It's so muddy. It's hard to go through and like pick out the narratives that they were really trying to hone in. But that is one narrative that really took steam and has not stopped since. Was we have got to undermine what the PIs confirmed, that Chris was in Memphis, and they have not stopped since. New people have came in to try and play the games, Silvers, so on. Beddy, it's just insane.
That I just feel like in her overzealousness to clean, she would have cleaned all of the fingerprints off, leaving none. And that would have been a key piece of evidence had law enforcement actually dusted the doorknob. Just
they start to really heavily push that law enforcement didn't do their jobs. At first, it was law enforcement was doing great. If you go back to some of Seth's interviews, Seth himself said, you know, there was a few things, of course, with the missing child, that there's always going to be things that somebody wants done better. But he was still even positive about law enforcement. Then Tony tells us on TikTok, and I have the clips of that too that I've played. If you want me to play it again, I can go dig it out, of how law enforcement had asked Seth to do a few things to build trust. He refused to do those few things. But those narratives against law enforcement really changed in the end of April, beginning of May. And here's Beddy.
Just a simple
talk about law enforcement not doing their jobs.
Little task that could have produced so much. I mean, if they had smudges on it, at least they know it hadn't been wiped down. But if there was no fingerprints at all on the door, the way that the parents are saying they went out, it just seems like there was a lot of critical mistakes done up front.
We have no indication that there was any critical mistakes made at the front. None. We have no indication. Law enforcement had a heavy presence in the area. We've heard that confirmed by Bullshit and Bobby. Hey, Katie.
And actually, as a matter of fact, I think somebody even pretty much told me that law enforcement apps just didn't do it, didn't see any purpose for doing the fingerprints at the house. Now, I don't know if that's just rumor.
She don't know. She's just throwing shit at the wall to see what's going to stick. Again, she was testing out shit on TikTok.
I obviously did not hear it from law enforcement directly, but we haven't heard anything from law enforcement directly.
Yes, we have. By this point in time, we had heard from law enforcement that the family had been fully cooperative and that their stories had been vetted. And I have always chose to believe that Seth was at work. That's been a thing for me. I had no indication because that's not what law enforcement told us. Their stories have been vetted, meaning Seth was at work, Chris was at work, Katie was the last one in the home with Sebastian that we know as of right now. Okay. All right, let's go on further because I have to throw this all together and my head's going to explode. But let's go over here. So June 21st, that's where we're at. Let me go down here to the transcript before I switch you guys screens. Let me go up here. Okay. Let's go back to the beginning of this one. Let me see if I time-stamped this one. I've got so much more to do. This whole timeline thing just hurts my freaking head. Doing this shit, going back to the whiteboard shit, I'm like, why do I do this stuff to myself? Because I'm anal and ridiculous. But it works. Okay, let's see. Share this tab.
You know, to shave off an hour, this has to be, you know, just wine. You just, when he had gotten to the house, he said that Katie walked up to him and started, you know, showing him out something. And I wanted to go over it with you because we've been discussing a lot of this case. And I'm referring to Sebastian Rogers, the 15-year-old autistic boy that
So this is also June 21st, later in the day. She's showing maps.
Disappeared from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee, and has not been heard or seen from since. And the story from his mom and stepfather have been a little strange to say the least. Their story seems to be forever changing. Hey, we got Crystal, River, Wendy, Mike. Remember that photo that I was trying to say I got? I was going to show you guys the photo. This is kind of what that Seth was looking at when he walked in. She's putting this up, her phone up in his face.
Huh. This was the photo that Katie was shoving in Seth's face. Anybody? This was the photo, the one that Beddy had just pointed out had bruising around the neck. This was the one that Katie was shoving in Seth's face. Why would Katie be shoving that photo in Seth's face? Huh? Some of you are getting it. Let's let it go. Because of the bruise? That's what one of the comments said.
And saying, look, he was happy. We're just with him.
Do you really believe that Katie was holding that photo in front of Seth's face and saying, I was just with him, we were having fun? Do you really think that that's what Katie was saying? I don't know what Katie was saying. But isn't it ironic that Beddy starts pushing that there's a bruise on that in that photo, and then she prints that photo out and says that Seth had said that's the photo. Okay, let's go further. Now, this is just Beddy's words, right? That's always been weird to me too. I always thought that was weird. Like, why would she be shoving a photo in his face, right? Like, what's the point of that? Oh, shit. Did I just exit it out? I did. Hold on. Let me go back to that one. Because that, y'all, when I heard that, I was like, hold on here a moment. Yes, Dexter, I see that. I hear you, buddy. Oh, Bubby. The thumbnail of this photo, too. Oh, wrong one. Dexter. Hold on, you guys. I'm still here. Give me a second. I bumped the entire thing off. I was like, ta-da, poof. Yeah, that's right, kiddo. That is right. Hold on. When I heard her say that, I was like, oh, really now? This is what we have here, huh? Okay. Now I got to remember where I was. Damn it. I know which date I was on, but you should, y'all, this playlist that I've collected of shit is like stupid, intensely deep. Okay. Here we go. Here we go back to this. I was like, wait a moment. When this whole thing connected for me, I was a little dumbfounded. Why do I boot myself at times? I haven't done this kind of crazy shit in a while. Okay, got to reshare it with you guys.
Wendy, Mike, remember that photo that I was trying to say I got? I was going to show you guys the photo. This is kind of what Seth was looking at when he walked in. She's putting this up, her phone up in his face and saying, look, he was happy. We're just with him. This was the one that I printed out and made sure I got this one. This one was the one that was taken the day before he disappeared. No, 2 days before. This was taken on a Saturday. This photo right here was taken on a Saturday, right here. That's the one that Seth was referring to in his interview when he had gotten to the house. He said that Katie walked up to him and started, showing him.
So we don't know what the conversation actually was, but that's the photo she was shoving in his face. And that's the photo Beddy wants us to believe that we're seeing bruising on his neck. We know that Chris, according to what was said by Seth's PIs that were working on his behalf, Chris was in Memphis. Seth was at work. But the last time Seth had Sebastian was the 17th, 18th, the 19th. Sebastian went missing on February 26th. Why would that photo be the one that she shoved in Seth's face? Beddy?
Let's get back here. So, Crystal, it's nice to see River, Wendy, Big Mac, Mike up in the house. Be Betty, it's nice to see you. Peggy, Crystal, Tammy, Gypsy, Lori, Marla, it's nice to see you. Brenda, good afternoon. Good afternoon to my peeps. If you're in California, might not be quite afternoon yet, but I had to correct something majorly quick. So I want to wait until a lot more people get in here because this is correction time. I've had an opportunity to review the map. Not what I was hoping for something more positive, but I see what happened. This is what I got, and I said I needed to recreate the map before we brought it.
Y'all, these are videos that she did before the protection order. Let's be very clear. We're back in June. We are timelining shit and narratives. So if you're coming in late, this is older videos that we are going over because of narrative shifting, stories changing, team members shifting.
But if we could shave off, an extra hour one way or the other, then we could. And so I took the time out today to recreate the map.
We don't know shit. We don't know if that's actually a bruise. We don't know where it came from. We're going off of the shit that they've put out here. The stories that Seth's team has put out here. Beddy, the useful idiot, has continued to put out here.
And I couldn't recreate the map. And it took me a while. Sometimes these things, takes me a little while. I got to look at it, see what the problem is, right? What the problem is. And I found out what the problem is. And so I kept looking at it. I'm like, man, 2 hours and 7 minutes. Like that is, to shave off an hour, this has to be, just a thing that just goes straight. And I look.
This is how you poke holes in their narratives and watch them narrative build and it fall flat on their face because they give themselves away with their narrative building. Look at the people that they've picked as the ones that have exclusive access. Who's willing to just run with anything and put it out here as a fact? That group of people.
Looked at the line and it goes straight there. And I'm like, well, you're not going to really get any better route than that from Hendersonville to Memphis. I mean, it's just a straight diagonal line. Boop, if you think about distance and stuff like that, that's probably the best place for you to be. Hey guys that are just coming in. Who's all coming in? Oh, let me say hi to you guys. It's moving faster than I can catch up. So we have Brenda, Maui girl. It's nice to see you. Patricia, Stephanie, Jesus.
Okay, we really don't need to see any more of that one. All right. So then June 22nd, let me find this one. Give me a second. She heads to Tennessee. She goes to Tennessee. In one moment. Here we are. So she takes off and heads to Tennessee on June 22nd.
And I didn't go to bed until after midnight last night. which kind of sucked. You know, my body, my time, my sleep is all off because I just basically been working around the clock at the house. And so I was trying to settle in early, but that didn't happen. And then, of course, I dropped another video because I was reading through emails before I went to sleep. As you can tell, no makeup, but that's okay. I do have it's too dark. I'm not quite ready for glasses yet. I do have my espresso. So I have my 1 cup of coffee, and I didn't go to bed until after midnight last night, which kind of sucked. You know, my body, my time, my sleep is all off because I just basically been working around the clock at the house. And so I was trying to settle in early, but that didn't happen. And then, of course,
these narratives have been, I mean, we've all seen what we've seen. Most of us have been following this along, and we knew that there was a ton of distractions, and we knew there was a lot of things. But if you go back and look at the timeline of events, the things that were happening, the reason why people shifted around, they were not going to be able to continue to push the narrative that Chris's alibi was faulty with the PIs confirming that it was. Like, people are going to be believing licensed PIs, in my opinion, way over some useful idiots on YouTube, right? I mean, that would tell you. Law enforcement says that their stories have been vetted. The PIs come out, say that they have vetted sources that confirm Chris was on the job site, so on and so forth. So PIs gotta go. They gotta go, in my opinion, slowly. And then you have a whole lot of real strong, heavy narrative pushing. And what's the best way to do that? To put boots on the ground, push buttons, and get a reaction.
I dropped another video because I was reading through emails before I went to sleep, and somebody had mentioned that the Optimum photo, the one that was taken on Saturday, was the last photo of Sebastian Rogers. It's like we knew.
Skydoll, when I saw this, my brain just went, wait a moment here. That's the photo she was shoving in his face. Beddy had just, and you notice she is not, she pushed that heavily, that theory of the bruising, and tried to imply many things with that photo. But then when you go back and listen to her own words, we don't know. We really don't know. We know that Seth's PIs, when they were on behalf of him, confirmed Chris was in Memphis. We know that Seth was at work. We know that that was the photo that Katie shoved in Seth's face, according to Beddy, who was team Seth at this point in time. So she's getting her information directly from Seth. We know that Beddy points out that there's a bruise on his neck, and it looks like a thumbprint. We know that Seth has said that, well, and again, taking everybody at face value here, that Sebastian was with Seth the 16th, 17th, 18th, potentially the 19th, because it was a holiday at school. He goes missing on the 26th.
But it just, for whatever reason, it was the way it was said in the email that it clicked. Because we had talked about that particular photo early on in the case, because there was a visible bruise mark right around his Adam's apple, the Adam's apple on his neck, and you could clearly see the facial shadow from his face, and where the light would have had to have been above him to produce that shadow, and that bruise was not in the path of shadow. So and then when I blew it up, you could tell it was definitely like a browning type of bruise right there.
A browning type of bruise, which would mean a healing type of bruise, correct? So she claims that photo was from the Saturday before. So if he went missing the 26th, that would have been sometime the 24th into the 25th. Babbles, probably not, Babbles, because that was years before, but good try. Good try. Good try on that one. Yeah, if you guys, I mean, I guess I'm pushing buttons because I'm pushing back on some of the why are you hating on me? Why are you guys mad at me about pointing out the shit that she put out here, ma'am, sir? These are their words. Don't be mad at the messenger. I'm just replaying the shit. That's it. I'm just putting it back into the hands of them. Why did they push on these things? Babbles, there's no proof of that. I mean, if you want to show me proof that that happened, I've heard words. I have no reason to not believe that, but they're divorced. They're in a custody battle that has one thing doesn't have anything to do with the other. Obviously the court, I'm just going to say it, in my opinion, didn't see that there was reason to keep his daughter away from him for visitation. So there's that. I mean, just got to put it back into where it places. Well, Babbles, I'm going to need something besides your word because I don't even know who you are. So there's that. We work on facts over here, and these are things that came out of their own mouths. Thank you. If you want to give me proof or have me, but again, it goes back to, even if that did happen with Nina and her child, I'm hoping she reported it to authorities. She should have. And I'm hoping that they're getting the care. That doesn't have anything to do with Sebastian being missing, in my opinion. So take that for what it is. Okay, carry on. Carry on, Betty. Tell us some more. We got some more to look at.
Right there. And that, I didn't pay attention. I thought it was an older photo because, for a longest time, we thought that those photos were him younger, and they weren't. That Optimum photo was taken the Saturday before he just...
Babbles, I don't know what I'm wrong about. I don't know what I'm wrong about. I'm using Betty's own words. What am I wrong about? The fact that I'm not buying into your bullshit about a one-time pop on the butt with a belt, and I'm not escalating that to it automatically means that he's involved in the disappearance of Sebastian. I don't think any of the parents are involved, truly. But the narratives that are being pushed are very questionable. And why? I believe in law enforcement. Law enforcement has told us that their stories have been vetted and the parents have been cooperative. That's it. I'm also going with court decisions, that the court allowed Chris to see his child after Sebastian went missing. So if there was all these allegations and proof of all these allegations of abuse and him being abusive, right? The court would have to make those determinations. And we're talking two different states here. We're talking Tennessee and New Mexico. There's also questions about that. So not only one court, but two courts. I got questions. Babel's probably not the place you want to be, because I'll question that too.
Disappear. Hey guys, it's nice to see you. I can't read chat because I'm driving, but and I don't have my glasses on. I do have my glasses, well, sunglasses on. I got glasses. I can put glasses on, but I don't want to. There's no need to.
She's headed to Tennessee. The bruising she mentioned again. She talks about it being a Browning bruise, aka a healing bruise, in my opinion. All right, that's the photo that Katie shoved in Seth's face. Let's carry on. So then we go to the 24th. Again, this is all Betty's words. You got a problem with it, go find out why Betty was pushing these narratives, not me. I didn't say this shit. Betty did.
Look at that. I see you. I haven't been on here for a few days. I wanted to come and let you guys know I have made it to Tennessee. I was here last night.
Her next court date is the 10th for the protection order with Chris, and then the 23rd for the 6 violations of the protection order, from my understanding. The 10th and the 23rd.
I went live this morning at like 4 o'clock in the morning. We went out there with the big pole. We got the shot from the camera. There is the camera shot. I'm going to try to have that overlaid on that.
Hey babe, I'm just making friends on the internet again. I hope you're having a good day riding the tractor and playing with the mini cows. I'm over here just getting people to love me 1 minute at a time. Kyle pops in and is like, "Oh, Becky's pissing people off again. I see."
That lights photo. This right here is like a ditch. There's like a ditch right there that goes all the way back almost to the Proudfoot gate or fence. They have a
Thank you, literally, Davis fan. I'm not putting it together. Betty's own words put it together. I just missed it until now.
Metal fence there. There's a lot going on here. We're going to have to dive into this, but I am covering the case of Sebastian Rogers. He is the 15-year-old autistic boy. Hey, Beach, it's nice to see you. That went missing from his home in Hendersonville.
Oh, that wouldn't be part of the TikTok team, the TikTok twits, right? By the way, for anybody that needs clarification, because somebody asked me, is Body part of who I refer to as the TikTok twits? No. There's like a select handful of them, and I've never classified her in that group ever. So please don't, please don't do that.
Tennessee. And I got to tell you, I just dropped a video. I did a daytime view, and then at the very end, it did a nighttime view. So I literally just dropped it. You guys.
Body, I actually got questioned if I was including you in that. And I was like, nope, not at all.
Will not want to miss that. We kind of take a ride. I'm going to give you guys better visuals. That was just the visual of the car and how I was maneuvering because you guys were fixed to the car. I'll be dropping more that gives you a better lay of the land.
And then what did she start doing? Highly, like, I mean, her thumbnails have always been problematic, but attention grabbing thumbnails with maps and Chris and with a baby's body.
Out there, and we've got some new information. So
do we have some new information? Let's tell us about it, please.
The community is not near as dark as what they led us to believe. Like they said, it was pitch black. It's far from being pitch black. It's
I think we know why now, though. I think we know why she's been avoiding this and dropped this and never went back to it. This would be why. This is why they stopped this narrative and stopped talking about this Bruce. Her dumb ass put it out here that's the photo Katie shoved in Seth's face when he got there. Like, ma'am. And that story never made sense to me. Why would Katie shove a photo and say, look at how happy? No, that don't make sense.
It's not pitch black. They don't have street lights. I give it that. But I was there at night. It's not pitch black. I even turned if you guys go over to my YouTube channel, you guys will be able to see, I drive it at night. I give you guys, you guys can go there and watch. We did a nighttime view. We did daytime view. We went all over that place. So you don't want to miss those videos if you guys are really looking for a lay of the land on the, like a ground level. I have a 9-foot pole that I have, that's a dock for my cell phone. So what I did is I got out where I stayed on the street, I stayed on public property, and I got my 9-foot pole and I got it all the way up to where the camera was. And I kind of set the pole where the camera is angling. So I have the height here and I have the angle going across. So that's what I did. I got the pole. So even though we can't get the actual camera view, we got the angle, and there you got it. There's the angle right there. So we've got the angle of what that camera was seeing. Now it's a few feet further in because I had to stand at the street, not up at their garage, but at least we get a good idea what we were looking at. And we got a lot of information. So,
okay, now I want you to pay attention. I want you to pay attention to this right quick. What's coming up? Sunday Doodles, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. What she's rattling on about here is not my concerning part. What she's about to say upcoming in this is where my ears perked up.
I'm currently in Memphis.
Okay.
And went by the St. Jude's Project.
She's currently in Memphis.
I have learned is that it is completely shut down on Sunday. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about whether or not they shut down or work around the clock. They do not work around the clock.
Okay. And
it is fully shut down.
Nobody questioned that because we're talking about the 26th.
The cranes themselves. Oh, thank you. The cranes themselves we were a little, I was told that when the cranes shut down, all the lights go off. So you don't see the cranes, everything is shut down. But the person that had been sending me the videos said she's never went by there without the crane lights being on. I was there during the day, the whole project on Sunday, like I said, there's nobody there. There's no guy at the gate. There's no workers on the ground.
Okay.
It is completely locked up. It's completely secure. And
That's why his alibi was vetted somewhere else by the PIs on Sunday evening and then at his RV.
And I look up during the day
and then confirmed to be on the job site Monday morning.
Daylight when I know nobody is there and those lights are on. So those lights stay on 24/7. I don't know what the purpose of those lights staying on are, but I have to think it has something to do with the airport.
She has no fucking clue what she's talking about. Let's just be realistic here. She has no clue what she's talking about. She's going to circle talk you until you just go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. He wasn't there. Okay, cool.
That's nearby. There is an airport that's very close. I guess there's a Memphis airport somewhere here. And so I think.
Date of this video, I got you. I'll show you just so you get June 24th. June 24th. I got you. There you go. The name of the video too is Findings So Far.
The reason why they have the cranes lit like they do is so the for air traffic purposes. I don't know if that's the case, but it does make sense.
But hell, I'm just going to throw it out there and why not? It's for air traffic control.
And somebody did mention it to me, so I just assumed that might be the reason. So we have that. So I'll find out if there's any reason tomorrow morning for anybody to be showing up at the job at 5:15 in the morning.
So she heads to Tennessee the 22nd, creates some ruckus, heads to Memphis on the 24th. She's in Memphis, pushing these things, but it gets more interesting here.
And find out, and we'll just go. Well, I mean, we got nothing but time, so we'll periodically run around and just check and see when people start. No, this right here is the Proudfoot community.
Sorry, ma'am, I'm going to be more inclined to believe the licensed PI, two of them that came out and confirmed that Chris's alibi was what it was, that he was on the job site. I am going to believe that they had a vetted source. I'm going to believe law enforcement that their stories were vetted, meaning that Chris's alibi is solid at his job site. I'm going to believe those things until law enforcement or somebody with actual credentials tells us differently. If I'm going to believe it with Seth that he was on the job site, I sure as fuck am going to believe that Chris was on the job site.
This is the angle. So we had Nick Barris dropped a video that had these little subjects and lights and stuff like that. And so they were
these little subjects, aliens. Did we see aliens? We saw ponytails bobbing around. Did we see aliens too?
Saying that it was a garbage truck. And I just want you guys to see that there is no way you can see the garbage truck from this side.
But what's really interesting, and I'm going to go back to this again, is all of these neighbors who have cameras and who saw all this shit, their cameras were jammed. Not a single one of them has came out and released a video of when the trash truck actually went through their neighborhood. All these neighbors are so afraid and so involved, but all of them with cameras would have been able to tell us exactly when the trash truck went by their Ring cameras. None of them have done that. Not one of them has been able to come out and say, see, law enforcement's lying. Here's when the trash truck came through. Here's the trash truck. Shocking.
The way that this camera angles is all these houses kind of line up one after another. You can't see through there. So this idea that there was like maybe a garbage truck coming around and it was like maybe putting like spots on the camera, which I think is what they were trying to imply. There's no way for that to be.
No, ma'am. What you guys took and made into a whole big thing was a tiny little section of a video that was the upper corner of a video, and you just a little select piece and you made it into this big, huge conspiracy, right? Because if you're going to go with one narrative, well, in order to push that narrative, you got to add in a little bit more salacious bullshit to push that in there. Well, what's the purpose of all these narratives, Betty? Who does this benefit? Huh.
There's no garbage truck here. The car was right here. Remember, I had it was at an angle like this, just like you see here, how it's kind of angled. It's because that's the way the camera is.
Oh. I love her explanations because that's why I don't fucking know, but I'm just gonna say this is the way the camera is and put my hand up here and make it look so like I'm doing something. Okay.
And so we got the car kind of sitting here in the dark, and we got lights kind of coming through it. And the reason why you don't see the lights disappear, is because when they're walking through here, this is a ditch that they had to walk down right here. Now they could just walk around here, but it looks like they walked right from there. They walked down and then they pop up right about here. We'll have to put this new overlay, or this new shot over the spots and see where they land on this shot. But I think that this is more of the proper appearance of what we're looking at for an overlay purpose. But again, I don't know. I'll have to, I've already sent it to guidance. I'll let her work for it. I've been kind of out of sorts.
Not guidance again, the one that was sending information to Nick and Dog's team about imaginary plates for CJ and the Serpentine Belt Bandit that they were trying to, not that guidance. That's not who you're talking about, is it? The one that was getting plate numbers off of an imaginary plate that wasn't caught on the Serpentine Belt Bandit. Now guidance is doing this shit. Oh Lord.
My mods, because I've been on the road. I've been driving for hours and hours and hours. Amen. But we were here. I stayed the night closer to the CrowdFit home, so I could get up early this morning and go take a look. So you're not going to want to miss the video that I just dropped down here on this channel.
Definitely not going to want to miss it. It's salacious.
It you're going to want to watch it to the end, because at the end we give a nighttime view, and you get to see you remember that ruckus video? The reason why we had the ruckus video, you see this line of trees right here? Well, the lights, there wasn't a light source coming to it. What it was is right here in this, this is a garage. And the owner of this house here leaves those garage lights on.
Well, you're wrong now, because now they've got camera jammers in the whole fucking neighborhood too. Didn't you know?
So it's not a light source coming from somebody else. It's actually coming out of this garage. And see these leaves right here? They move down and
no, the leaves move. No,
move up with the wind. So there.
Say it ain't so. I think she should work for NASA.
There's your ruckus right there.
Calling.
That's your ruckus video. So I figured that, that's what I had assumed was the issue, because when I reviewed it, it looked like there was a ruckus, but it seemed like it was a ruckus that stayed right.
Did she just agree with Jay's ruckus
together? And you know what I'm saying? It kept like almost repeating, and that's what I typically see when we see leaves or bushes or something like that. So that's the culprit right there for the ruckus video that's been kind of making its way around. There's nobody that we can see in the lights. It's not lights. It's not somebody picking up things. It's not a man in a hat. I know it looked like it, but it really was just lighting and leaves.
Oh, shit. Beddy says it's lighting and leaves, but now we've got all this other shit that happened. Oh, Lord, Beddy. Again, this is June 24th.
And we remember that. Remember back when we were younger and we played with the lights in our hands and made little things? It's like that. Is that a ditch with a drain? Good question. It did look like, if I recall correctly, I think it did have some type of drainage tube that went, but or maybe even coming into it.
A drainage tube, aka a pipe. A pipe.
I don't know if I think
a drainage tube.
I think there's drainage that comes into it, not out of it. But I really don't know. I didn't pay that much attention to it. I will be back. I've got to get,
we can't wait.
I have to get stills. I forgot to get the stills. I forgot to get the photos, because I wanted to go on Kellen Lane and kind of look at an angle and see what you can see from Kellen Lane toward that direction, to see if there's any cameras on Kellen Lane. Because I know that was one of the questions and one of the conversations that we had, is that there is a potential that there's a camera that angles.
Thank you all for sitting with me through this miserable shit. My brain just started like melting though as I was laying this out in my head, and I'm like, I gotta spew this out.
toward the Proudfoot from the Kellen Lane side. And I'm unsure if that is the case, but I definitely wanted to check it out. But I took my people for a tour, and I wanted to be here for a Sunday night so I can get an idea of what was going on at St. Jude's on a
You took your people for a tour? Who the fuck are your people, and what kind of tour?
Sunday. So I definitely know that work is shut down on Sundays at St. Jude's. So I'm going to be just kind of chilling and just driving around about, throughout St. Jude's, just keep moving in the car, and just keep popping by there to find out. It says vault available in 23 minutes.
Sheila, I normally don't. We were going to speed her up though, because I can't with this.
What is the vault? Does anybody know what this vault is? Top tier gifters only. Interesting. I just got a click thing. It says vault available in 23 minutes and 53 seconds. Looks like we're going to be here for a little. I want to see what this vault thing is. I hope I don't get like a big old fat virus or something.
This was another TikTok.
That would suck a little bit. That would suck. But I went by the Bower Sox too.
Oh, wait. Did she just admit to going by the Bower Sox home too and keeping them under surveillance? No. Say it ain't so.
I went by the Bower Sox. Oh, gosh, I got to tell you, that place over there really resonates with me. But I've talked to everybody. I talked to Terry Lynn. I talked to Seth. I talked to everybody because I really think that was a prime location because
she not only admitted to being by the Proudfoot home, but also by the Bower Sox home. No.
Think of it. Kathy and Terry Bower Sox left 2 days after Sebastian disappeared. They ran off to Alaska. And then Chris left for that 17-hour tour to go pick up his camper. It should never have taken 17 hours to pick up a camper. That camper's too small.
I mean, travel time, sleep time, meeting with employer. Fuck, I could give you 28 hours worth of shit that somebody could do, but carry on.
For to take that much time to pack up and get on the road. And so he has an extra 10 hours on his hands. Long story short, he went and did that after the Bower Sox left. So I was thinking, he has a home, a completely empty home, a place where he can feel comfortable, and a forest behind the house. It is it seems like it would be definitely prime for, the area that we're looking for. But they said that there's a pond back there that has been thoroughly searched. Dogs have been out there. Terry Lynn told me that she was out there. She thoroughly searched that. I think wherever Chris went, he went way deep in the woods because for whatever reason.
Oh, wait, did she just blame Chris again? Wherever Chris went? You mean?
He has a lot of scratches on his arms.
He has a lot of scratches 8 days later that law enforcement would have noticed right when he appeared at the home from his job site on the 26th. He wore a short sleeve shirt in his interview. That man ain't dumb. I'm sorry, you can think what you want, but that man ain't showing his scratched up arms. And if law enforcement saw that, they would have swapped those for DNA.
A lot. And so I've got my people. I haven't checked my emails in almost 2 days. I've got to check them. But Chris on that green shirt interview, his fingers were messed up too. So I'm trying to have some of my people, maybe we have some.
His fingers were messed up too because the man works on vehicles, works on a job site. The man actually works. I know you wouldn't understand that, even though you're a master electrician, you claim.
Graphic designers here too. But I need somebody to blow up those fingertips and clean them up so we can see what kind of damage we're looking at on those fingertips.
We need somebody with graphic design skills to enhance those little tiny. Jesus, Kyle, if your hands would give you away of anything, they're just a huge mess.
I want to see those fingertips. There's something about those fingertips. I haven't analyzed those fingertips close enough, but whenever I try to blow them up, it gets really blurry. And I'm not, I can put together some simple videos and stuff like that. I'm just not a techie person. I'm definitely not a graphic designer of any sort. I definitely don't know how to clarify images and smooth and all this other stuff and really take a pixelated image and make it look like what we need it to look. So if anybody knows how to do that, maybe go to the green shirt interview. You can't miss it, but it's his fingertips. I'm looking for fingertips.
They've never accused them of anything.
If you guys could blow that up, and if you can, tell me what program so I can try to recreate some of it, just to verify that it's not like a phony picture. We got to do that these days. Oh, thank you, Grace. God bless you. But we're here. We're working. I'm trying to. There's a lot of stuff that I have major questions.
Just driving by the job site over and over, spending the night in Memphis, tracking down things that were already confirmed by the PIs that were working on behalf of Seth. Okay. And I'm sure, like I said, law enforcement vetted all of this from jump, but all right.
Oh shit, did I just break that? Oh no, I didn't. Sorry. That I have a lot of major questions with. And
this is from June 24th, 2024.
Okay, there we go. See, chest plate. We got a chest plate here, a double phone holder.
Oh, she's even going to proudly show you her stocking equipment, in my opinion, allegedly. That's what she's using this for. I mean, a chest plate with camera holders for what else? I'm not really sure.
They're too close. I need to get a different one. It's not wide enough to hold two phones. And like this right here doesn't open up to hold a Samsung very well. The Samsung's too big for this. I have a Samsung and an Apple, and I can't get both of them to fit either. This, like I was doing, what I wanted to do is have one this way and one this way, right?
That kind of resembles your boobs, one hanging lower than the other.
So then I can do YouTube and TikTok without, any issues. That's what I wanted. I can't do it. They're too close together. Not quite right. Good concept, just not well thought out. This thing here needs to be wider. I forgot what I was even talking about. Sorry, guys. I went on kind of a tangent with this damn thing because I looked down. It was right there. I do that. Don't mind me. But anyways, it's been a long day. Oh, this is my official hat for this. I actually bought this specifically for this trip. So I have it and I wore it all day today. There it is. The official keep your face out of my space hat. Keep your face out of my space. And then this is the last thing.
Meanwhile, she drove to Florida from Tennessee. Or she drove from Florida to Tennessee. Excuse me, I said that backwards. And then from Hendersonville specifically. And then she drove to Memphis. But they're supposed to keep their face out of your space. Oh shit, did she just pull up that photo again? And is going to try and she did. Meanwhile, we just heard her say that this is the photo Katie shoved in Seth's face.
It didn't dawn on me at first, okay? It didn't dawn on me at first at all. We've seen this video, and of course, we've talked about the bruise before, but, one thing I didn't put into perspective is that this was the photo that was taken that Saturday at the Costco's before he disappeared. This was the most recent photo of Sebastian, and it has the bruise. That's the part that didn't click for me. So you can see the shadow of, let me get the clean copy so you can see the shadow. So you can see the shadow of his face right here. And sometimes these shadows, like right here, could look like a bruise when it's not. But if you blow it up right here, this looks like almost a thumb mark.
I actually agree with you, Betty. It sure does. It looks like a healing bruise.
Right there on his Adam apple.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the photo that was taken the day, like the Saturday. Like he had that eventful damage. So it was February 24th. This photo was taken February 24th. That has me, we've seen this before and we talked about it before, but it didn't snap that this was the most recent photo of him. I thought this was an older photo of him, so I didn't pay attention.
Still not snapping for Betty what she told us all.
Because everybody kept saying, why do they keep using younger photos of him? And then we found out that was taken days before he disappeared.
So a healing bruise, let's go back through this timeline again. So if we're taking everybody at their word, right? Why not? Why not take them at their word? Sebastian was with Seth the 17th, 18th, and potentially the day of the 19th because that was a school holiday. So we could even go Friday night after school, which would have been the 16th, 17th, 18th, and potentially the 19th. Chris hadn't seen Sebastian past that first weekend in February. This is the photo that Katie, according to Beddy, she printed it off and said that Seth confirmed that this is the photo that Katie shoved in Seth's face when he walked in the door. These are their words, not mine.
So, we made the drive. There is no 2 hour and 7 minute drive here. If you look at the map, they accidentally put it's Henderson. We're looking for Hendersonville. So that's what made the map look a little weird. But I did talk to Terry Lynn, which has been out there searching. And she says the time of night that it would have been, she said she was able to get to Memphis in under 2 hours. She said she had to.
And rolls right back into trying to put Chris in Hendersonville.
She said she had to drive like 90 miles an hour. And I said, you drove 90 miles an hour? And
she continued to shove this narrative about this bruise. And then all of a sudden, poof, no more mention of it. Zero mention of it. But if you just go back and listen to it, it was all right here. I don't know where this bruise came from. I can't even tell you for sure that it is. I'm going to take them at their word, right? She's telling us it's a bruise. She says it looks like a thumbprint. I'm going to agree with her on that, okay? I'm going to take them at their words. This is what they're telling us.
She said, yes. And I said, and there were no cops out? And she goes, oh, no. And I said, well, would Chris know that? And she's like, he drives this road consistently and quite a lot. So yeah, I think he would know. And so there we have it. You know, there is, and I trust Terry Lynn. She hasn't given me any reason not to trust her. She's out there busting her butt, searching for this boy in the woods. And I was talking to her, and she's got a couple places that she wanted to search, but she doesn't want to go search by herself. And I told her I'm happy to.
That was back when they did that. Okay, let's go on a little bit further. Let's go up here. Let's go to the 29th. So she had spent some time there. We know that. Okay, let's go to this one and see what we got here.
She does not like Seth. They had a lot of problems between them. Chris wanted Faith to hurt Nina, and I feel that Katie wanted Sebastian to hurt Seth. I believe that these two people are two peas in a pod.
It could be a birthmark, but usually on missing flyers, if there's an identifying mark, tattoo, anything like that, scar that people will be able to identify, those are included as distinguishing marks. And that's not on any of the TBI photos. That's nothing we've ever heard from law enforcement. There's never been a picture that stated that that was a birthmark. I would think that that would have been covered by law enforcement if it was a birthmark. Could it be? Yes. But do I believe so? No.
That's why they get along so well. I think Katie's just as manipulative and disgusting as Christopher Proudfoot. But I absolutely believe that she did something to her son. And I wish I had the hope that Seth does. And again, I don't want to extinguish it. And as a matter of fact, I want to
not her accusing the folks again. That's never happened.
Embolden it. And that's why I'm asking people to call around to the autistic centers in their state to make these, to ask these, inpatient places to look at Sebastian's face and to let, and to send information over to law enforcement if they've heard anything. We're doing this in all 50 states. We've got people trying to get flyers in Alaska because there were wards of Alaska. We want to dot our I's and cross our T's. Just because I think that this is bad, as bad as what I think it is, doesn't make it so. There's still hope, and I'm very thankful that Seth is holding on to hope, and that's the person that needs to hold on to that hope. We're gonna do what we can as a group to support that hope for him, but I also have a job to do as well. So I've got to do what's necessary on my
job to do.
End, and my end is following where information's leading, and my information is leading me in a different direction. But again, if we got people working on this direction and me working on this direction, then we got a good coverage. So that's kind of how I look at it. And we're being sure that nothing is amiss. The premeditation starting to, I absolutely would not entertain, and you guys know for a fact, I would never in a million years entertain the premeditation. I said there's nothing really supporting that right yet.
Oh, we're not talking about premeditation.
Supporting right now is the fact that it looks like she might have lost her shit and did something. Now, I really believe that bruise on
Did she just blame Katie again?
Sebastian's throat.
Did she mention the bruise again? Sure did.
Just days before he disappeared.
Just days before he disappeared.
I think is a very telling sign for me personally.
She thinks it's a very telling sign. Let's take her on her word for it for once. What's it a telling sign of, Betty?
As to Katie, because she's the only person around him. Therefore, she would have been the only one that could have given him that bruise.
That's not true, Betty. That's just not factual, Betty.
Chris hadn't been around him for weeks.
Chris hadn't been around him for fucking weeks. Let me back that up again. Let me back that motherfucking train right up again. Why are we doing this again? Why are they so pissed about people not believing Silvers? Why did she come out swinging at Michelle today so hardcore? Why is she still pushing on? Yeah, you do the math. You make your own opinions.
In a million years, entertain the premeditation. I said there's nothing really supporting that right yet. What's supporting right now is the fact that it looks like she might have lost her shit and did something. Now, I really believe that that bruise on Sebastian's throat just days before he disappeared, I think is a very telling sign for me personally, as to Katie, because she's the only person around him. Therefore, she would have been the only one that could have given him that bruise. Chris hadn't been around him for weeks. That bruise was not that old. It wasn't weeks old. It was.
That bruise wasn't weeks old. Chris hadn't been around him for weeks. She has eliminated Chris because he hadn't been around Sebastian in weeks. This was after she was on the ground in Hendersonville and had sat down with Seth. This is the 29th of June.
It wasn't.
Timeline again, according to what we know. Sebastian was with Seth the 16th, 17th, 18th, potentially into the 19th because it was a school holiday.
Please, I mean, it was brown. It didn't turn yellow yet, so it had to have been within like what 3-5 days. My medical people would know the degrees of bruising, and it concerns me highly. So that's kind of where we're at. Hey guys.
And why would that be the photo that Katie shoved in Chris's face? I don't know. I don't know what the conversations were. I have no idea. What bruising? The bruising that Beddy claims was on Sebastian's neck. I got a lot of questions. I don't know about y'all, but I sure do. Here, I'll show you right quick before you forget. Beddy tried showing this narrative as soon as she got a chance.
But before we get into this conversation right here, I'm just going to take a few moments to kind of give everybody the Reader's Digest of how we got here. So according to Sebastian's mother, he went to bed at 9 p.m. Exactly at 9 p.m. She had him don't know what the nightly routines are. Don't know anything about.
So what did we get out of this today? There's the picture and the narrative that Beddy was trying to spin. So did anybody pick up on anything new? You tell me. But I've got a lot of questions about these narratives. Thank you, Body. I have got a lot of questions about these narratives because they sure as fuck dropped this real fast after there was some pushback on that fucking photo. So she confirmed out of her own goddamn mouth that it was trees, or so she says, and leaves, that the lights. She admitted to driving by their home, driving by the Bowersox home. I mean, those things were there. She acknowledges that that was the picture that Katie shoved in Seth's face when he arrived at the home. Why would she shove that photo in his face? Your guess is as good as mine. But why have we completely backtracked now when she said Chris hadn't seen him in weeks? Chris wasn't home. If we're going to take Seth at his word like I have been, I'm going to take Chris at his too. Because law enforcement has told us. Right, Allie? Right? This is what happens to me, though, when I go back to the drawing board and to the whiteboard and start laying things out. My brain just goes, boom, wait, was that just said? Yet sure was. Sure fuck was. And then I get stuck down these little holes. And I'm trying not to do this with every single one of them, but holy shit, there's just a lot. There's a lot to talk about. But they knew. Seth said over and over again that Chris was in Memphis. Seth's PIs that were working on his behalf confirmed that there was vetted sources that Chris was on the job site. This whole narrative, Beddy flipped out on Michelle today for no reason. But why do they keep interjecting these things and then just dropping them? Because they overspeak, in my opinion. I don't think Seth, Katie, nor Chris had anything to do with the disappearance of their son. Let me be very clear on that. I've said that all along. Do I have a lot of questions? Absolutely. Do I have a lot of things that just light bulb in my head when I go back and look at May? TikTok Tony enters the scene at end of April. makes his first appearance with Seth beginning of May, tells us that he came in to do damage control. Not really sure what that damage control was because he didn't really seem to do much. Then the PIs are let go of right after they pretty much confirm that Chris's alibi is solid. Okay, that's weird. Didn't really make sense to me at the time. Then here comes Beddy, a new member of the team, another willful idiot willing to push any narratives and pushes these narratives and doesn't even realize what she's telling us. I don't know if that's a bruise. That's what Beddy's telling us it is. That's what Beddy told us it was. Beddy told us that that bruise was a healing bruise, basically, a browning bruise. Sebastian went missing on the 26th. Beddy claims that photo was taken on the 24th. Sebastian was with Seth Rogers the 16th, 17th, 18th, potentially the 19th. Chris hadn't been around Sebastian for weeks. You heard it, their own words. I'm not filling you with anything. I'm not painting a narrative. I'm using their own words to ask questions. Beddy, what the fuck are you doing? That's all I got to know. What are you doing? And why are you guys rehashing and regurgitating old shit that never held water? Thank you all for joining me today. Beddy does lie. Absolutely. Right, Hartley? But she tried it. she tried it. But then they dropped it like nothing more. These people pretend to be all this bullshit out here and say all these things. We have no indication of what's going on. And I'm going to take it at face value. I'm going to go with law enforcement. I'm going to go with the parents have been cooperative. Their stories have been vetted. I'm not going to blame them for shit. But I'm going to throw their fucking words, these useful idiots' words, right back in their faces. Because this is about a missing child, not games. Who benefits from continuing these narratives and pushing these narratives and doing this shit over and over again? These creators, because it's a nonstop, constant content farm of fuckery. Believe what you want. Listen to their own words. Listen to what they're telling you. They want you to believe them so bad. Well, believe them. Go back and listen to their words. Listen to all the shit they told on themselves. I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. Burnt Toast will be live in, I think, 26 minutes. There's more to this, too. And I might take it there. Because there's talk about incidents that happened and other things. Right before this, that if you put in, it's a lot. It's a fucking lot. But Beddy, I hope you get the memo on this one. Stop the bullshit. Silvers, stop the bullshit. Let law enforcement do their jobs. This is about a 15-year-old missing child named Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, who has been missing from Hendersonville, Tennessee since the 26th of February. He deserves dignity. He deserves respect. And if I'm going to believe Seth at his face value about where he was, I'm sure as fuck going to give the same respect to Chris. Because you guys told us that. You told us that that's where they were. Now you're trying to tell us something differently? Nah. Nope. Until law enforcement comes out and tells us that this is what happened because they know. Be careful what you believe out here. Sebastian is a missing child who deserves dignity and respect. And these people have done everything to attempt to strip him of that dignity and continue to do it on the daily. Because they don't care. It's about clicks and views for them. She'll do this in every case she does. Have a great night, you guys. I will see you over at Burnt Toast. If you have any questions, let me know below. If you need timestamps of what I just showed you or the videos for it, let me know. I created a whole little Beddy timeline. This is just a couple weeks of it. There's a whole lot more that I could go way deeper with. Ask yourself why she's so upset with some of these people. There is, Alex. There absolutely fucking is. And it just makes me so sad. It's so sad. And I'm so fed up with correcting it. I'm just fed up because it doesn't, like, me correcting this doesn't even give them the dignity and respect back, because then they just amp it and push it a different direction. The harder we debunk and show this bullshit, the harder they kick off another narrative. But I don't know. All right, you guys. Good night now. Have a good night.